name is Soni Parsons. I'm an artist, licensed professional therapist, and registered art therapist from Norman, Oklahoma. I became an artist when my dad passed away. I went to a psychiatrist who helped me work through my depression and handed me a stack of art therapy books when he found out I did art. He said, "Why were you not still doing art?" I didn't have an answer for him. My first assignment was to go home and paint a self-portrait. I didn't like what I saw grays, so I decided I needed to work on that, and that's kind of where I went back into being an artist and also learning how to become an art therapist. As far as my art background, I have no formal art training. Classes in high school and then a few college classes. For my art therapy training, I had to have 12 studio hours. I took a lot of classes from Bert Seaborn here in Oklahoma City. I've had various classes at Oklahoma Contemporary, Firehouse, and just different workshops that artists gave here in town. I think one of the important things about my artwork is I love to share my passion with other people. I was an art teacher for several years. The kids that didn't go to band and weren't in music and weren't athletes all ended up in my class. I taught a recycled art class. That way art was very user-friendly. We didn't have to come up with a masterpiece. We could do really cool things with foil and paint. And just sharing that love of art with them and giving them a new passion for art, that it didn't have to be perfect and it didn't have to be realistic, and it still could look really cool in the end, and they could do it without being an artist. I always share art with my grandkids. My grandkids have been in my studio since they were babies. So far only one of them's taken to it. She's really taken to it. I've watched her go from a shy little girl to having her own show one Friday night, really shining. And I think that's a lot of mine. It's just my passion and just sharing that with my clients in the studio. Like, hey, it's okay, you can mess up, it's all right. We don't have to go through life being perfect. We can't go through life being perfect. That's where anxiety and depression come from. And that's what I use art, is to help them overcome that. I have a private practice in Norman where I use art with clients to overcome emotional trauma, physical trauma, deal with their anxiety, deal with their depression, figure out which emotion they're feeling a lot of times. Little kids can tell a story better with pictures than they can just telling me a story. They don't have words to tell. Sometimes adults don't have words to tell, and it's better if they can do their artwork first and then we process it later. And through that processing, we come to a conclusion together of the journey that they need to take during their therapy. I had friends talk me into doing art shows a while back. So my very first go-round for gallery submissions was at 50 Penn Place. I walked in, was told I didn't have a style, and went and set my car in tears. I decided I was not gonna let a man in all beige tell me I needed to find a style. So that's when I was determined to prove him wrong, do a lot of things out of spite. That has been 15 years ago, and I've been showing ever since. Art fits in my everyday life, in work and leisure. Luckily, I am an art therapist, So I get to share art daily with clients to help them tell their story, discover their emotions, and hopefully learn to use as a coping skill to help them get through life. I paint at home when I need to, also to get a handle on my emotions and deal with everyday life. I came to Street Smarts Gallery because I was attracted by the fact that my artwork could come out of piles in my house and stuffed under my bed. It's nice to have a permanent home for my art and not have to lug it month to month to somewhere else to show. It's nice to be a part of a group as a whole and have other artists in here that become friends. Just knowing I can send anybody here at any time without them having to wait to see things. It gives me incentive to be here, to make new things. I kind of got stuck for a while after COVID and it was really hard to make. So coming to Street Smarts, I was like, oh, I gotta get stuff for the gallery. So that was very, very helpful. I like where it's at. I like the idea of it. I like it just as kind of regular people showing their art to everybody.